Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Inside the Forest. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. As always, how are you?
I'm doing well, and how are you?
Good evening. I'm doing good. Recovering a little bit. Had a little quick trip out of town last night.
I was
Literally
about to
flew out.
say, my, how the turntables.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah. No, this time, it was funny because this time, it might have been the first time that I was checking into my departing flight before I even got on my out of town flight,
What?
right? Because 24 hours,
Yeah. Wow.
Have
Wow.
you ever done that? I
I don't
don't
think I've
know if
ever
I've
done
ever done
that.
that. Yeah.
I can't think of a time.
Yeah. My flight I left yesterday afternoon at 1:30, and then I flew out the next morning at 11:30, so I was checking into that flight before I even left town. So it was weird. Anyway,
Dang.
quick trip to Dallas. I'm back, and we are back doing Inside the Force. First and foremost, of course, thanks to our patrons, our very, very loyal and dedicated patrons. We love you, and we thank you for all the support. We are doing our episode 4 commentary. Well, it's already out because technically this is probably going to drop. I'm going to drop this right before. So if you did get wind of this before, we're doing it right now.
Jump on right now.
Yeah, right now. But it's only for our patrons. So our patrons can jump in live. All of our patrons. So we do have some, I guess, Patreon, there's actually Patreon. Some Patreon is free, right? You don't have to pay. But this is one of the things we give all our patrons. So come check it out if you want. There's the stream right there on the Patreon site. We're going to do an episode 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is number 4 or 5. This is number 6, our 6th commentary, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is number 6. We are a little bit behind.
A little bit behind. Yeah, a little bit of work going on, but that's all right. That's all right. Okay, before we get into a couple topics here, wanted to read some comments that we got from our last couple episodes of things. Episode 449 we just released last week, which we heavily talked about the fact that they are exploring a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then I thought it was interesting because Kamora Jade, who is one of our patrons, left us a comment, and we were talking about. I read this a couple days ago, and I thought it was really good. But anyway, we talked about our last episode of the hurricanes that came through.
Yeah.
And she commented and said, "I think the thoughts and prayers is fine for things like natural disasters. It's things that are a little more in human control that it feels hollow on.
Oh.
But you can always encourage people to donate to reputable disaster relief funds. I really like the Red Cross, or donate if you can. 2 big things that can make an impact over just sending the needed good vibes." That's a great reminder. I thought that was a really good comment and a good point to make. Not only just, because both Hannah and I obviously are faith-driven people. So, of course, we're going to say things like thoughts and prayers because I believe we very much mean it.
Exactly.
And I think that does, it's true. I think that does kind of become cliche in a sense, but also doing things like donating, and which, I don't want to, I'm not bragging, but I've done a lot of my own donating myself. So it's like, but we didn't say anything like that, which is lost on us a little bit. I think it's a great point to be able to say, look at things like that whenever disasters hit, because it truly is the things like that people need.
And I think it's if you can donate, then donate. Don't put yourself in jeopardy for the sake of somebody else. in
Yeah.
the sense of you cannot give 100% of yourself if you do not give yourself 100%, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah. And I mean, like, I have friends who I know aren't faith based. And if they're going through a rough time, I do reach out to them saying, is it okay if I pray for you? Because I don't know how you feel about the God that I follow, you know?
Right. True. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, is that okay? But I
Mhm.
think that is a great reminder that there are other ways that you can you can help and you can make an impact, because I do appreciate the fact that people do understand when some people say thoughts and prayers, that's really what they truly, truly mean. It's not just, oh, well, here's some Christianese at you.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's truly meant. So
Yeah.
there are other ways to help. There are. I mean, even if it's volunteering your time,
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
because you don't, not all of us have money to give. Some of us have time to give instead.
That's exactly right. Yeah. In fact, I actually heard at the airport a conversation between two women that were talking, and the one was coming through Atlanta. It was when I was in Atlanta. They were coming through from probably Charlotte or somewhere in North Carolina, but she had talked about how she went down and helped with the hurricane stuff. So it's good. There's good in the world, right?
There is.
There's. But Mara Jade also went on to talk about Obi-Wan a little bit. She said, I wouldn't mind another season of Obi-Wan either. If they have a decent story to tell, I'm gladly watch Ewan McGregor do whatever he wants. And then she says, I also left a comment on a different video, but I don't think it got read. You can listen to a YouTube video with your screen off, so essentially like a podcast, but you have to have a YouTube subscription to do it. It's an exclusive feature. But that's why I believe you have, so that's just YouTube now. So YouTube now has YouTube Music. It's an app you can get, and that is where their podcasts are going.
Gotcha.
And I probably failed to say this because maybe I didn't ever say this on the show. So there used to be, because I'm constantly changing our links on YouTube because things go away. Like Stitcher went away. It didn't go away necessarily. It got gobbled up by Pandora.
Right.
So now everything that was on there is on Pandora now. But you still have your biggest ones like Apple and Spotify and probably iHeart, I would say. But Google Podcasts kind of lived for a little while, but that went away. Mm-hmm. And they turned it into YouTube Music.
Dang.
So in YouTube Music, this is why on YouTube, on your video channel or whatever, you can create a podcast playlist, right? So one of your playlists or a couple of your playlists, you can turn it into a podcast, meaning that it will show up on YouTube Music. If you don't do it, it won't. So, but if you have it on YouTube Music now, what that means is it will pull from your RSS feed. And if it's a video, you can watch it, or you can just switch to audio and you could hear it. And I'm assuming on that one, you don't need I haven't actually tried it yet, but I'm assuming you can listen to it like a normal podcast, and you can turn it off. And, I guess the question is if you can, because I think the conversation was if you're watching YouTube and you're set it down, your phone locks and it turns it off. Whereas I think YouTube Music, you can still.
Okay.
In fact, I'll just try it right now. But I think that was the point of. It was you can listen to it. So this is I'm just gonna play this is actually mine and Brooks. Podcast. My so audio. If you switch over to audio, it actually does it just stays on the thumbnail, right?
Oh, okay.
But if you go to video, it'll start playing the video, right? So let me say if it's on the video. Yeah, so I'm locked and I can still hear it. So that's their way of competing with the podcast apps, right?
Makes sense.
There you go. YouTube Music. We're on there if you want to listen to us on YouTube Music.
We are.
Anyway. Okay, so also JoJo on our Obi-Wan says, my goodness, I remember the hype I got when I talked about rumors of Leia being in the story of season 1. You just made me feel the same way with the speculation about the possibilities of a second season. A live-action Clone Wars series would be everything to me. And then he says, now that we now have Ventress lives at the age of the Empire, she could very well appear in a season 2 of Obi-Wan along with Quinlan Vos. And then Obi-Wan could have a cameo in Andor season 2. Yeah, probably not, but probably not.
No, I don't think so.
Right. And then, Hannah, I don't know if you saw, me and Martin put out a council sessions about why kind of like what we're talking about, why make a season 2 of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Let's see, JoJo commented on that one too. He said, whoa, you shocked me with the idea of an Anakin Skywalker series. That would be absolutely incredible, featuring Padme and Ahsoka, as well as Obi-Wan. I'm mostly listening to your podcast at night, and so often you're the reason of sleepless nights, as I can't stop thinking about the amazing ideas you all bring up. Thank you so much for the podcast. Yeah, thank you, JoJo.
Thank you, question mark.
No, that's great. That's great. Hey, trust me, I lay around thinking about Star Wars a lot, so I get what you're saying. Thrawn says, I don't think you can say no to bringing Ewan McGregor back whilst he's at the age, because eventually he will get too close in age to Alec Guinness. So use him while you have him. I would love a season or film set in Clone Wars era, but I don't think Disney will want to spend that much money on de-aging throughout the entire season. I wouldn't mind a story of him helping out the path with Voss. I thought that was a good idea.
Oh, that's good.
I know, right? And can always have flashbacks with Anakin and have Qui-Gon pop up now and again. I don't want them to do Obi-Wan and Vader again. That's a bit too much and would ruin their A New Hope meeting.
Yes.
Thanks for the video. Have been missing Mandalore podcast.
Oh.
We'll be back when Skeleton Crew comes back.
Woo.
But actually, Martin texted me this weekend like he wants to do a couple other episodes, so we'll see.
Oh.
Yeah, probably before.
Like
speaking of Martin, he commented on our last episode. He said, I am on chapter 20 of The Rise of the Red Blade. And in full disclosure, I am finding myself siding with how Iskat is feeling. Maybe I'd be an Inquisitor or Sith too. Yikes. Or actually, Balin Skull, maybe.
I mean, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, we have... I'm telling you right now, actually, I know we'll do a Beyond the Saga.
We will.
With that. But since we don't really spoil much on Beyond the Saga, we will probably have to talk about Rise of the Red Blade on Inside the Force, because...
It's nuts, right?
It's nuts. And I do have a lot to say about it, because... kind of along the lines of Martin, I think it's a great book, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through it.
Okay, so you got to the twist. It's not really a twist. It's just the moment that you didn't see coming, but you knew was coming.
Maybe I'm not there then.
What? No, you have to be there.
I mean, I'm past. I'm past Order 66.
That's what I'm talking about, because that came out of the blue for me.
Oh.
Like, I was reading it, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what's happening?
Oh yeah, Order 66. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's a full play. She's an Inquisitor now, where I'm at. So,
Spoiler
I think
alert, but kind of not really,
I think
because it's called Rise of the Red Blade.
Do what?
I said spoiler, but not really, because it's called Rise of the Red Blade. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the cover is her standing there as in an Inquisitor outfit. But I think, but no, I we'll get into it. But there's a lot there, and there's a lot. I think what he's saying is there's that whole thing about the Jedi not being as great, and
it's made me rethink so much. Like, because every time I like get to a point, I'm like, whoa, there's a really solid point here.
Yes,
from her perspective.
Yes, from a certain point of view, right? It's always from that
point of view. There's so much validation behind it. From a certain point of view,
that's what we got to talk about. That's what we got to talk about. There's the truth, and then there's the manipulation of the truth.
But I'm saying, if all you heard was the manipulation of the truth, then you have validation for what you think.
Yeah, but not even the manipulation. Even the manipulation of the truth may not be accurate.
Yeah, it's true.
So like
it's a whole study behind Order 66.
Well, yeah, the whole, yeah.
Like the whole thing.
Because it's there's no argument. I believe in a way, like there's no argument that the Sith aren't evil.
Right? No, there isn't.
Right?
There absolutely isn't.
But there's this line in this gray area that for example, the Empire, right? They have this. It feels like anybody there that knows about the possibilities of what the Jedi may have been. It's like you're almost siding with the Sith, which you are siding with evil. So but then there's a lot of people that, like people that are stormtroopers, that just they have no idea about Sith and Jedi, and anyway. So
yeah, the book is a perfect study in if you haven't read this book, which is not Star Wars related, but it's a great read. It's called The Screw Tape Letters, where it's a bunch of letters where a demon writes to his nephew in a way to help him influence the human that he's supposed to taunt, tempt, whatever. And in one of these letters, he said, the greatest thing you can do is to give them justification and have them radicalize everything they do.
Right. Yeah.
And I think this book, Rise of the Red Blade, is a perfect example of that.
Okay.
The power, the power of justification and radicalization.
Yeah. It is, and that's gonna be fun to talk about. I think it's gonna be good.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's when I'm done, which should be in a week or two. So, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, so a couple little bit of news. One, New York Comic Con just went down this past. Actually, it's happening right now. And Star Wars, of course, as they always do there, they always have at least a Lucasfilm publication panel. And they did reveal some things, mainly a lot of Phase 3 High Republic information. For one, there's a book. Oh, there's just more artwork that came out for the High Republic as they take on the Nihil.
Okay.
Avar Chris has a whole new different outfit. There's another book coming out called In a Valiant Vow by Justina Ireland. That is looks like a young adult novel. You've got another young adult novel coming from Claudia Gray. This kind of mirrors her first book, Into the Dark. This one's called Into the Light.
Okay.
And then you have... Now, see, I was afraid of this because it's definitely happening, because you knew when they created the Acolyte and they knew it was going to come out, you can tell they definitely banked on this thing being a hit, because there's a ton of Acolyte publication stuff coming out. So there's a book coming out. There's a young adult coming out called The Crystal Crown, and it features Jecki and Yord. From Star Wars: The Acolyte, right? So So there's that. There's another one that has in the comics. There's another. Oh, in the comics. Oh, this is weird. I actually didn't understand this one. Star Wars: The High Republic #2 has Kelnaka in it.
Okay.
Oh, so well, did I know that then? I don't know if I knew Kelnaka was alive way back during the High Republic era. I guess.
How long do Wookiees live?
Well, I mean, Chewbacca's a couple hundred years old, so I guess that's right. I guess he would still be alive. He was alive back then. Okay. Well, didn't really get that, but now I got that part. Let's see. Tempest Breaker. It's another audio drama, High Republic, coming from Cavan Scott, is coming out. Has Marchion Rowe on the cover, so I guess he's still alive. Didn't know that, but yeah, he's still around. Okay. Now this is I'm pretty excited about this. A new comic series from Mark Guggenheim. Mm-hmm. Star Wars Jedi Knights, which explores the Jedi Knights of the prequel era set prior to the events of Episode 1. Therefore, it's got the cover, like one of the covers they had on it has all the Jedi that you're familiar with. Mace, Yaddle, Yoda, even Qui-Gon, even Dooku, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Okay.
Kit Fisto. It's got all. So this is the time, obviously, before everything falls apart. And we're just getting some Jedi stories. So hopefully this one shines a good light on the Jedi, because I feel like we've been lacking that for a little bit here.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Let's see. And then Star Wars Insider, they talked about some stories from the High Republic that's going to be landing in there. So that, not much else as far as I mean, that's the only comic that was announced. So there are some comics coming later this year, but they didn't really go into too much of that on this. It's more about the novels. So there you go. High Republic is Phase 3's got a lot still coming, and that thing wraps up here in June with Trials of the Jedi. So
dang.
Yeah. Right now, the comics that are really kind of out right now, only Ahsoka, which is the adaptation of the series. You got Ewoks, and you got the Battle of Jakku is the big one right now that's happening. Mm-hmm. So go check those out. Now, another thing, I don't know if you knew this, Hannah. I failed to really dive into this, but Disney Plus has what they have live streams on there now. I don't know if you knew. Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, so if you go into Disney Plus, there's a streaming section, like a live stream section, and it's like a themed playlist. Like, for example, one right now, they have one's called Hollow Stream. So like everything kind of Halloween related.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's you just turn it on, and then whatever's on, it's like just like a channel on TV, and it's just playing.
Huh.
There's one called Playtime that's got a lot of kindergarten type stuff.
Aww.
Kids stuff, and you have a news one. You have and then the one that I was looking at that I heard, because I heard about this that a lot of that stream Star Wars, but there's one called Hits and Heroes, and so I believe it's like all the Marvel stuff and or the Star Wars stuff, you know.
Okay.
So like right now, the first episode of The Bad Batch is playing right now on there, like the Aftermath one, the the long one, the debut.
Huh.
But yeah, so it's interesting. I think there's going to be more of these, but they're called just nonstop streaming playlists. And
so what you're saying is we're moving back from streaming to television,
live television, basically. Yeah. But this is like grouping your favorite stuff in one channel. You know,
how many channels have done that for us growing up, though? Like this is just mirroring that. So yeah, it just makes me go, great. We're going to go back to TV.
No, you're exactly right. we were sitting in our we had a board meeting, with the company yesterday, and one of the things that were talked about in there was just like what you said. It's funny how everybody wanted to get away from TV and ads and all this stuff, so you went to streaming and on demand. But all these streaming platforms realize they can't just sustain subscriptions, so they have to sell ads. Because do you know what's crazy is that right now, even though you have Disney Plus, even though you have Max, Netflix, Prime, as far as the numbers go, the most popular streaming platforms or platforms itself are the what's called AVOD, which is the advertising video on demand, which are your Rokus, your Tubies, your Freevies. Like those are actually the most, because people want free TV, and then in the end, they're watching the ads just like we did 10 years ago.
Can I just say, like, for Prime, because I remember with Prime, when we bought Prime, the whole purpose of getting Prime was not only to save us, hundreds of dollars on delivery fees,
correct,
and all of that jazz, but also was so that we could watch Prime Video without ads.
Yes.
Now you have to pay more with Amazon Primes to avoid ads.
Yes.
Which is like we're watching one of our favorite shows right now, and ads keep on popping up, and my husband's like, I want to pay for more. I'm like, babe, that's not in our budget. We cannot pay for more. And he's like, I can't stand these. How can you stand these ads? I'm like, honey, I listen to YouTube with ads on all the time. Like I just embrace it for what it is. But that's what it is they keep on hiking up the price with ads.
Yeah.
Or if you want to avoid ads. And I'm just like,
yeah. I believe that Disney Plus has ads now, doesn't it? Or unless you pay for the ad free.
I don't know. I'm a part of a family plan for that, and we had a thing with Verizon, so I don't know.
And I have the Hulu Disney bundle, so
okay.
Which I don't. For Hulu Live, or Hulu Live, I pay no ads for that.
No, we don't have Hulu. The only we did the free trial for Hulu Live, but that was when the Eagles were playing in the Super Bowl and we didn't have access to TV.
Yeah.
And then we canceled that.
And that's why that's the only reason I do live is mainly for sports, because I watch basketball and football. So, but when you do that though, you are watching ads. Like it's just normal television. It's just when you go to you go to the Hulu library and you watch something, it's whether or not there's ads on that. Now, I wouldn't care, I guess, if there was. I guess kind of I would. I probably wouldn't. That's probably still have the ad free one. But anyway.
The only reason why it bothers me with Prime is I'm already paying for Prime. Why do I have to pay more for Prime without ads?
Yeah.
I'm already paying you for Prime, which was what the original agreement was.
Agreed.
That's the problem I have with that.
Yeah. So the word is it might come to, you might start seeing possibly like a Netflix and a Max basically almost eliminate, probably not fully, but give you the option of a free version, but it's going to be full of ads, or a non-ad version.
No, it's not going to be free. It's going to be like $6 a month, because I think that's what I have.
Maybe something like that. Yeah.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one platform where I'm like, yeah, I'll take ads for $5 a month versus $15 a month.
Yeah, I think that's Peacock. Actually, you're right.
Okay, yeah. So then, that's what I have with Peacock.
Yeah, but we're basically going back to what we were.
We are.
It's going to end up being like cable again.
But I got to tell you, growing up, there was nothing that pumped your adrenaline more. I mean, you were like, okay, we're about to go to break. We're at break. Go. And you rush into the kitchen to quickly make a snack, to hear your sibling go, it's coming back soon. And you're like, I've got like a minute left. Like, there's nothing that beats that adrenaline of you trying to get what you need done within that commercial.
I will admit, it's been a long time since I had any kind of experience like that, because not just because of streaming, But I was, for a long time, I had DirecTV, which had a DVR.
Yep.
So I never watched shows live, really. I was always recorded, and I would skip the commercials, right? Because you were allowed to skip commercials. And that's the thing about streaming too, is like you can't even skip the commercials if you wanted to. Even if you recorded it, like it's like a certain time frame. Like if you watched within a day, you have to watch the ad still. But if it's longer than that, then you can start skipping, I think, or something like that.
Even with YouTube, every now and again, you'll be like, yes, I can skip this ad. Other times,
yes,
you're like, oh, I'm going to skip to this point in the video. Oh, guess what? You skip to this point. You have to watch ads.
You have
it's
to
like,
watch
but
ads.
I just watched ads.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And sometimes it's like 2 or 3 minutes worth of ads.
It is.
Yeah, so it's tough. It's not like just one commercial or something like that.
No.
It's like a commercial block, like you would in cable television.
We're already back to TV.
I know. I'm telling you. So anyway, Star Wars, if you want to see that playlist on there, hopefully you can watch it without ads. In fact, I don't know. Those streaming things might have ads on them. That might be what they were talking about.
I might have to test that at some point.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I might try that out. Okay, let's see. All right, moving on to just one little topic I was thinking about that I wanted to go through based on this publication panel over at New York Comic Con. I was kind of thinking about, the High Republic has been running for a few years now, and it's coming to a conclusion here. What did I say? June? Yeah, June of 25. Now, there's probably going to be maybe some games or some stories and things like that possibly pop up still in the High Republic era. But I'm kind of curious. I was just kind of curious. I wonder if they're going to do another big kind of publication story arc like they did with High Republic again. And whether or not that was, I wonder if they found that, you can't stop it, but I'm wondering if they found that was financially profitable for them, putting these books out, putting these comics out. Because I don't know if you can gauge it really, Hannah, but I have a hard time gauging the interest in the success of the High Republic right now.
Yes, very much.
I don't see a lot of people talking about it.
But then there's that one small group that is just obsessed over it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely fans.
And I mean obsessed in a good way.
But I will say the thing about it is, it's not like it's only been a couple novels here and there. It's a lot.
The thing is, too, is I'm starting to slowly see people who just are kind of movie folk and just stick with the, the Skywalker saga. Slowly start to read High Republic and go, oh, that's why this is this. Mm-hmm. And I've also seen other people who, like me, do prefer the extended universe, because the Nihil very much reflect the Nazgul. Well, no, not Nazgul. What am I thinking of? That's Lord of the Rings. The Yuzon Vong.
Yuzon Vong, yeah.
It reflects them. And so you're like, okay, I can sort of dig this now.
Yep.
So it's weird. And then you have some people who are like, yeah, I want to love the High Republic, and they read it and they're like, I don't get it. It's weird.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think and maybe it'll get there, but I remember talking about this when it first came out, that wondering why 200 years before episode 1, why that point in time.
Yeah.
So meaning that I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a letdown unless there's a little more explanation of why this time period, like what is so significant. Yes, the Nihil, and there's a storyline going on with these Jedi, but what happens at this point that kind of triggers or connects to what's going to happen? Because it seems like they were trying to do that in the Acolyte. They were trying to introduce Plagueis and eventually get to Palpatine possibly, or some kind of form of the Sith, going into how they rose to power in a sense.
And now we'll never get it.
We will, and then we won't. And then there's that, there's still that 100-year gap between the High Republic books and the Acolyte. So what's there? Is there anything there? Maybe not. If there's not, then that's kind of, to me, it's like, why did you go here? Why did you go in this era? Why didn't you go the Old Republic era? Why didn't you go that far back? I don't know. So anyway, when this ends, I don't know, Hannah, I was just kind of thinking, what would be next? Like, what would you want to have them focus on as far as publication goes, whether it was comics or books or both? Is there something in mind that you have?
So I have two.
Oh, yeah, two now, because you said you had one.
Yes. I was like, screw it, I got two.
You got two.
You
okay.
came at me with like, I got a couple. I'm like, okay.
I got a couple of thoughts. Yes, I do. Okay. All right, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, everybody knows I'm going to say this. The Old Republic.
Sure.
Let's get some more of that.
Now, that was your second, first or second? Your second. Okay, so that wasn't your primary. Okay, Old Republic era. So what do you mean by do you want to see a publication kind of adventure of that?
I don't necessarily need to see the story of Darth Revan. I just want to see, what was the Sith Academy like? What was the Jedi Academy like back then? What was the war between the Sith and the Jedi? If Bane is still technically canon, what was that all like?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How did the Rule of Two come into play? Like that. There's a plethora of material.
Yeah.
There's so much outside of the whole story of Darth Revan. Just go for it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But my number one would have to say, I would love to see in movie form or even comic form more about the Chiss ascendancy.
Oh, okay.
Because that
I did not think you were going there.
The second trilogy of Thrawn is so fascinating, especially with their culture and how much more you learn about the Chiss. I would love for us to explore more of that, especially because they have legends about the blue blades versus the red blades.
So not Thrawn per se. You're just talking about the Chiss.
In general.
Yeah.
Let's learn more about the Chiss ascendancy, because that trilogy was such a breath of fresh air because it was something so different. And it's very tied into the Skywalker saga. I won't say how because that's spoilers. But it was such a breath of fresh air. We're seeing this whole different perspective on the Force. Third eye, all that jazz. Or third sight. It's so fascinating. Why wouldn't we explore more of that? Because that, even though it was very, very smallly connected to the Skywalker saga, even though it totally was, it still felt very Star Wars-y. Mm-hmm, and I think that's why I liked Andor so much, is because it still felt Star Wars-y without it being explicitly Star Wars. Yeah. So I would love to see more of the exploration of the Chiss ascendancy.
That's a good one. Yeah, I'm fascinated to. I'm more fascinated because I'm interested in the Thrawn character. I'm not so interested in the Chiss, but I will tell you which really I was thrown off by getting into the first trilogy and then the second trilogy of books for that was, when you look at the map of the galaxy map of Star Wars, there's a whole section called the Unknown Regions. Mm-hmm. And that's where the Chiss are.
Yep.
And it's not just that it's unknown because it's uninhabited. I mean, they have their own world going on.
They do.
Which was kind of fascinating to me, that why would the Republic, deem this area the Unknown Regions? I will say, I think it was explained a little bit that it's very difficult to get to.
Yes.
right?
It was kind of a throwaway line at one point.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where there's like a barrier almost between the known galaxy of Star Wars and the Republic and then the unknown regions. It's like
Well, and
people like,
even the Chiss are like, oh, we can't venture out there because who knows if we're going to be able to get back.
correct. Yeah. So there's that. That's kind of the separation part of it. But there is a whole thing going on with the Chiss and I can't even think of the other groups that
Risk and the
the
Dewey.
Grisk.
And
Yeah. So there's all kinds of, there's a whole other part of the galaxy that is, able to be explored totally by what you're saying. So no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm with you. I think
you.
I'm with you. I'm with you on your second one. My second one was obviously the Old Republic as well. And, I think that, part of me thinks that the High Republic should have been more about the Old Republic instead. But
I'm not going to disagree with you there.
yeah, because I think people would have been more familiar with that, because there's been content up about that with the games and some publication for it. That's Legends now, but
Right.
I think you have to, because I know it's not canon right now, but you got to redo or republish some kind of story about Darth Bane.
Yes.
I think you don't have to do novels again, but although you probably could, but I think more than anything, you do a publication campaign, but I think you pair it with an animated series set in that timeline, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be my first that would be my second option. I think my first option is still I think right now after the High Republic. Now again, it really depends on how it ends. Because this last book, Trials of the Jedi, it starts off with, this whole thing started off with Starlight Beacon and
Right.
this big ceremony and then the great disaster. And it was like this thing that really, it felt like it really challenged the Jedi. And it had nothing to do with a dark warrior or Sith or anything like that. But it depends on how this ends in a sense, like what state are the Jedi in at this point? Because what I think we need is a big campaign centered around the very, very beginnings. Now, I know there's a movie coming out.
Oh, wait, you mean the beginning of the Jedi?
I'm talking about the dawn of the Jedi.
That would be really cool.
Because even though we're getting a movie, there's no way you can cover that kind of story in just 2.5 hours.
No, and I wonder if it's going to be a movie and then immediately following it's going to be a bunch of publications.
I think it should be. That's definitely what I think it should be.
It's Disney. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. I think you have to. I just think you have to really, because the thing about it is, it's not one of those things where the Dawn of the Jedi, there's going to be 10,000 Jedi where you can pick and choose your storylines. Like,
yeah,
the Dawn of the Jedi should mean this is the very beginning. Like, there's probably only one
first Jedi.
Yeah, there's only one, maybe two, and you've got to follow that exploration of, which I think the movie will do, but then how does it grow from there? And
yeah,
and I don't think I don't think it has to be like I would do it like the High Republic, where I'd be putting out like 4 adult novels and 4 young adult novels, and then all these kids books. I think you do 1 or 2 books about it. Maybe do a comic series. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like that.
Comic or animated, something.
Yeah. Or honestly, think about a video game where this first character exploring this stuff, or
That
I don't
would be
know.
cool.
Yeah,
Or you're one of their first Padawans.
or absolutely
That game could be the telling of how the Sith were created.
or the Sith. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think there's different options there for sure. Yeah. So
That would be my number 3.
good. Yeah, I think that's what I want. I'm definitely wanting more Jedi stories for sure.
Of course.
Personally, but that's where I would go. I think we need some justification on the Old Republic side of the era, and then I would go further back and start seeing the beginnings of this, and really showing, because I think right now it's almost as if we need to start. You need to tell us and show us the true intentions and the true beginnings of the Jedi, to know what truly was the foundation and how different it ended up becoming, if it did become different, because we keep saying in the prequels and all this stuff that's happening there that the Jedi got complacent, they got arrogant, they get, or did they? Or did they just truly get overpowered by the dark side and they couldn't do anything about it? And then, like you said, there's the dark side, which really influences how your point of view changes of what the Jedi's doing and all that stuff, So anyway, I think knowing that true foundation of what the Jedi were built on, I think that's going to give us a whole other perspective of all these other Jedi stories that we're getting now. So anyway, that's what I want.
Good choice.
That's where I would go. All right. Go check out our commentary for A New Hope. It's probably out by now. Brand new commentary as we continue doing the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll try to schedule Empire Strikes Back here soon.
Yes.
Now that it's coming to the end of the year, things are kind of slowing down a little bit. I feel like a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
Who knows? Well, I know you got some busy stuff going on, but
yeah, but no, we'll make time for it.
It's going good.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you, Dave.
I will see you in the morning.
Hasta mañana.
So get your coffee together, right?
Oh yeah.
It won't be too early. We're going to be at 9 a.m. is a good start for us, I think.
I have my Disney Joffrey coffee all ready to go.
Yeah, nice. All right, everybody. Thanks. Take care. Of course, thanks to our patrons, as always, for contributing and for supporting the show. And if you want to, again, sign up on Patreon, it's free as well to kind of get access to some of our stuff. But paid stuff will get you even more. So anyway, take care. Thanks, Hannah. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Dave. See you next time.
See you guys. Have a great rest of your week. See you next week. May the Force be with you.